All right, so let's check out drum taps. First O songs for a prelude. And let's start writing the outline. So we can put this in the middle here and put this in the middle here. All right, here we go. Okay. So we can fix the spacing a little later. Is the best. So in terms of structure, what's the best way to structure it? We could do themes. We could do strongest point to weakest point. A lot of people normally say that's the best way to do it. I don't know if I agree. I don't think you should get weaker. I definitely don't think your last point should be the weakest. I actually think your last point should be one of the strongest because you want to leave the grader, the teacher, the educator with a really strong feeling about the quality of your writing, the quality of your essay, and how persuasive it was. So at a minimum, I would say to oscillate, to alternate, like strong, not as strong, strong, not as strong, strong conclusion. You know, but this is just an example. Or strongest, so or oscillating, strongest, weakest. So this is Whitman drum taps. And then my favorite is just in order. Line by line. So just in order, line by line, this is the one that I think works here because there's multiple reasons why I think this would work here. One of the main reasons is reason why this might be ideal is easy for grader to follow, easy for writer to craft argument and flow, and flow forward. It's, and because the theme is resoundingly clear in pretty much every single line. It's a poem that's rife with evidence on every single line, and there's nothing that really stands out in terms of line breaks or particular lines, characters, etc. It's all just good material, and we can sort of cherry pick the strongest points in different sections of the poem, going in order from line 1 on. So this is sort of a long explanation, but sometimes it's helpful also just to write things out, just to write them out. So, and yeah, so let's do this in order, and then let's comment on a few. We'll do a few here. So there's a bunch that I mentioned in the earlier video, but we could mention um, Live Limbs. That's alliteration, line 4. So we'll just mention a whole bunch. Alliteration, line 4. And then she sprang. More alliteration. Sh, s. And then strongest you. Truer than steel. Metaphor. She gave the cue, personification. So right now we're just going to write a whole bunch of stuff. And then we'll narrow it down to, maybe we'll only use personification. Maybe we'll decide that personification is what we're going to talk about, as it's evidenced throughout this entire piece. So this is a good start. We'll grab the next video. We'll cover pretty much all of the pieces of evidence that we want to use in terms of supportive evidence, and then we'll also work on a thesis. It's very positive. So think about the collectivist aspects of war, the sort of, the fact that it brings people together. That's sort of what the thesis of this poem seems to be, and it seems to be pretty obvious. Obviously, just keep reading, and you'll continue to really increase your comprehension of literature, history, etc. But just keep at it. A lot of times I talk to students who they feel like it's overwhelming. It's kind of like someone that's never done computer science, and then they start and they feel like it's difficult. Same thing with reading. Same thing with math. I mean, just a lot of subjects. It's the 10,000 hour rule, and it just takes a lot of focus and study and confidence, and just keep swimming, keep digging, keep diving. Because you will hit the depths of despair. I'm reading this book by Cal Newport, professor of computer science, actually, over at Georgetown, I believe. Psychology, computer science. I don't, or maybe he went to Georgetown. I don't remember, but it's called Deep Work, and he talks about. And there's another book by George Bernard called, I think it's called Mastery, and both of those are awesome. Deep Work talks about falling into your work and just digging deep for a long, long time, uninterrupted, not like tabbing between YouTube and this and that, or between a bunch of different articles and just reading things, like just really falling deeply into your work for 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, taking little breaks here and there, but really just focusing on that work. But also the Mastery book, I think it's George Bernard is his name. I emailed a bunch of my loved ones. I thought that they might get a lot out of it, but it basically says you will hit this like cliff of despair when you're learning something like reading or poetry, or mathematics, rigorous math, or computer science. And it happens to everybody. You're going to understand, and then the pit of despair, and then you'll bust through that, and then you'll understand more, and you'll grow, and then despair. So it's not giving up when you hit those pits of despair, or you plateau, or you feel like that you're struggling. That struggle is actually, part of the journey that you need to go through to get to the next level. A good analogy is like the karate, black belt, second degree black belt, third degree black belt. If all you care about is that one gold medal, you'll get the gold and then you'll be done. If you want to just be great and continue, and you just love it, and you love swimming, for example, then you'll You might be like Michael Phelps, so it's really about just the curiosity about learning and reading and growing and becoming a better citizen and becoming a more thoughtful, introspective person. And I mean, there's a lot of things that aren't practical, that you might not think are immediately practical, but they're very practical. And I think excellence is practical. I think hard work is practical. I think trying to get good because you enjoy something, not necessarily like, oh well, once I get the job that I'm looking for, I don't need to learn anything else. You know, um, you know, yeah, that So I feel like those are two really really good books. But we're gonna read some more of this poem, and we're gonna do a lot more of these. But yeah, check out those books. Gutenberg.org is there are a lot of great books on there for free. Totally. It's just it's a good time right now. I think to be a student, to be a learner. Very exciting time. All right, thanks guys. See you next time.